In 1861, the United States divided into the Union and the Confederacy, primarily due to disagreements over slavery and states' rights. It was fought between the Union, the North, led by President Abraham Lincoln, with General Ulysses S. Grant, and the Confederacy, the South, led by first and only President of the Confederate States of America, Jefferson Davis, with General Robert Edward Lee. The central cause of war is the Confederacy sought to preserve their way of life, which relied on enslaved labor, and wanted to protect their states' rights from federal interference. And on the other hand, the Union fought to preserve the country and prevent the expansion of slavery. The people in the northern and southern states had been debating the issues that ultimately led to war. On April 12, 1861, Confederate troops fired on Fort Sumter in South Carolina's Charleston Harbor. Less than 34 hours later, Union forces surrendered. On April 15, 1861, just 3 days after the attack on Fort Sumter, President Abraham Lincoln issued a proclamation calling forth the state militias to the sum of 75,000 troops in order to suppress the rebellion. On January 1, 1863, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation that declared forever free those slaves within the Confederacy. During the war, the Confederacy largely collapsed due to lack of troops and sources. The Union had a significantly larger population and a thriving industrial economy. The Union had a more developed rail system, allowing for efficient troop and supply movement, giving them a strategic advantage over the Confederacy. On April 9, 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrendered his Confederate troops to the Union's General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, marking the end of the American Civil War. After Robert Lee surrendered to Ulysses Grant, Southerners believed that the Confederacy could still be restored if they killed the leader of Union President Abraham Lincoln. On April 14, 1865, a Southerner and stage actor, John Wilkes Booth, shot President Abraham Lincoln in Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Booth escaped to Virginia after the assassination, but he was pursued by Union soldiers and eventually captured in a barn, where he was killed while resisting arrest. The assassination solidified Lincoln's place in American history as a leader who saved the Union and ended slavery, shaping the narrative around his life and presidency. On May 10, 1865, Confederate President Jefferson was captured near Irwinville, Georgia. He was imprisoned for 2 years at Fort Monroe, Virginia. Although indicted for treason, he was never tried and was later released on bond in May 1867.